BaiConatics, my name is Cheska Karandang.
And I'm Cledso.
And we hope you're having a blast watching and learning from your favorite content creators and influencers.
Sorry talaga, we can't be there, but we'll hope you enjoy this segment where some of the most influential LGBTQ plus personalities will have a conversation about waving the pride flag on social media. As for Cheska and me, we have been very out in the open about our relationship online ever since we started, and we are very grateful for having a community that supports us and having a platform where we can be our most authentic selves.
Napaka-importante ito sa amin na maging totoo sa sarili, at I'm sure all of us will learn a lot and get inspired by this segment.
So BaiConatics, ready na ba kayo?
Kaya just keep watching and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye!
Hey guys, welcome to BaiCon InFest 2021 Digital Revolution. I'm excited to be part of this amazing event, created not only for creators and influencers, but for our viewers as well. My name is Davey from 13C, and I will be your host for this segment, where I will be joined by my sisters, and by sisters, I mean sisters of the Alphabet Mafia, the LGBTQIA community, as well as people from content creation. But before we proceed to our segment, we want to let you know that this year's BaiCon InFest also aims to help protect kids against misinformation and fake news by donating at least 1,000 workbooks to Filipino children. So go ahead and donate now at www.baicon.ph. So like I've said a while ago, my LGBTQIA plus sisters will be joining me for a very interesting conversation about them being a member of the community and sharing their journeys with us in this segment called Waving the Pride Flag Proudly on Social Media, where we focus on being a member of this community with the power of influence. So without further ado, let me welcome our guest creators who are loud and proud members of the Alphabet Mafia, the LGBTQIA community. Our tatted TikTok queen who took the platform by storm, covered head to toe in art, our bayot patikan, Miss DeeDee Villegas.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whichever is applicable.
Hey DeeDee, so how do you identify and what are your pronouns?
Yeah, I identify as gender fluid, so I don't have a specific. So you can call me any pronoun you want, as long as it is not it. True. Ma-object tayo dyan.
Yes, it's not it, sis. Not it.
True.
So up next, we have an actor, TV host, entrepreneur, digital marketer, and TikTokerist who has starred in shows and films such as Ngayon at Kailanman, MMK, and Darna. Please welcome IC Mendoza. Hi, IC.
Hi, hello. Happy to be here. Hi, Davey. Nice to see you again.
And I know we haven't seen each other in forever. So, IC, how do you identify and what are your pronouns?
Yeah, I'm the letter G and the LGBTIQ. The Alphabet Mafia. Yes, I'm gay and I identify myself as gay, and my pronouns are he, him, and his.
Oh, nice. And finally, the first ever openly transgender woman in Congress, Honorable Geraldine B. Roman of the 1st District of Bataan. Kaisho Zermodus.
Kaisho, Davey. Anyway, good morning to everyone, to my fellow panelists, and of course, to the people behind this panel discussion. Anyway, I do identify as a woman. Ang ganda-ganda ko nang to di ba?
Yes.
So, it's only but right that I should be addressed as a she, and that we use female pronouns like her and whatever, no? So, but everything should be done with respect and sincerity, of course. Thank you, Dave.
Yes. So today we will talk more about everybody's journey through content creation, being part of our community. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Ready.
So first question is, we're told constantly when we were growing up that it gets better. What was your coming out story and when did it get better for you? I think we can start with DeeDee.
There was a time that we were told that gays would go to hell. I think we've all heard that. And that was a crazy childhood. believing that that's gonna happen. So it got better when I told my mom about it. Um, Actually, my parents knew that I was gay. Alam na nila. But it got better when I told them na ang hirap kung parang ganun yung mindset mo. So when I talked to them about it, they just told me, we knew, we accept you, stuff like that. So I think the time that I would say that it got better is when you are open to the people you love, that you're okay and what you're thinking about.
That's great. Let's have you, IC.
When did I come out? Ano siya, iba-ibang level, iba-ibang times iba-ibang time frame. Pero I think my coming out story is not super spectacular. It's not very dramatic. I mean, I came out, I said I was gay, and then my friends, okay, and then, because, tapos, di ba, parang shocking. Pero I think it wasn't any less meaningful because I did it on my own terms and in my own time. And it's very important with coming out is when you are the one who will actually say, when you will tell your story, kasi it is only your story to tell. So ako, it gets better kasi actually after coming out, parang ang dami pang for me, ang dami pang di bang problems, pero ang dami pang mga pagdadaanan after you come out. So I guess it got better through time kasi parang hindi lang siya coming out in a sense na, okay, nag-come out ka, tapos na yun. Parang marami pang self-discovery na kailangan malaman about yourself. It's not just you being gay, then, oh my God, solved na lahat. Alam ko na gagawin ko sa buhay ko. It's not like that. It doesn't work that way. I mean, it's a never-ending learning process. Ako parang, I think I'm a better Becky now than I was 10 years ago. And I would say na it got better through time ngayon kasi I took the necessary steps and I had good mentors and a good network to really support me. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, of course. And Congressman, we're all actually very curious to know, how was your coming out different, coming out in a political family?
I came out when I was in high school because I felt so much pressure. Everybody was expecting me to behave in a masculine way, and that wasn't me. So the pressure was so great that I had to talk to my father. Luckily, he was a very understanding man, and that was quite a surprise because he was your typical macho politician with his mustache. And so one night I came and talked to him, and I told him, Daddy, why is it this way? Everybody's expecting me to behave like a man, like a boy, but I don't feel like a boy. So he asked me, do you want, and he cried actually, he shed a tear or two, and then he asked me if I wanted to see a psychiatrist. You know what, in our family, we don't attach any kind of stigma to seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a psychotherapist. So we did go, and the psychotherapist just told us that, hey, this is just the way you are. You just have to deal with it in the best way that you can. You have to accept yourself, no? And really, when people, you don't have to hide to your family anymore. It gets better. And then, of course, from that Catholic school, I transferred to the University of the Philippines, and I met other people like myself. So that really helped when you see that there are other people who have the same condition as yourself, and I started transitioning, and it felt better and better. And through the years, I would say that it has become better, which is not to say that discrimination does not exist.
Yes. Oh, I'm also curious, where did you get the name Geraldine? Did you choose it for yourself or?
Well, it is the feminine form of my old name. Ayan, ako nagka-dead naming na tayo.
Oh, no.
It is the feminine form of my old name. So, okay. Connect the dots na lang kayo, but I won't mention it.
Okay. So, on the internet, guys, which is what the main topic is about, we know a lot of people in the community who are part of our community but are not out. Do we have to be loud to be proud? You can go, IC.
Yeah. I think that's what I always say. Parang, like what I said earlier, yung coming out story ko was not really exciting. I got the support of my family instantly. Sobrang swerte ako than most. I have that privilege. Pero growing up in the showbiz industry, parang ang dami kong kilalang mga actors and actresses na they can't come out. Pero ako, yan ang pinagsisihan ko when I was growing up, hosting a talk show, nagba-blind item ako ng mga kapatid natin na sa closet yung mga ganun. Pero it's so wrong. Kasi nga parang you don't really have to be out or loud to be proud. Because ano siya eh, hindi mo naman pwede, hindi mo kailangan pagsigawan sa mundo na proud ka para to really celebrate your pride. And pride isn't always loud. It could be quiet acceptance. Yun yung I think yun yung pinaka parang okay, out ka ngayon pero okay yung mga ibang tao hindi, parang in their own time, let them be.
How about for you, Congresswoman? Like, do you feel that in politics somebody should be publicly out if they are members of our community?
From the very start, I could not hide the fact that I am a trans woman. There was a time, it is the dream of every trans person just to blend in and not to be discovered, But I guess being in politics, I had no choice but to tell my story, my truth. And that's also served a purpose, you see, because if you are occupying a public position, that is a good platform to push for LGBT rights or any kind of rights for that matter. So do I have to be loud and proud? Define loud. What do you mean by loud? You see, kanya-kanya tayong personality and we should respect our personality differences. Ako, I just happen to be a very, old school siguro ako. Para akong manang ang dating. So, hindi naman ako masyadong loud. Pero I'm also proud. So, hindi yan batayan, yung pagiging loud sa pagiging proud. You can be proud in a quiet and simple way, but you can also be equally proud in a loud, quote-unquote, manner. So, all kinds of pride, being proud of whom you are, not having to be ashamed of who you are welcome, So,
yes. So, actually, I want to address something. When I asked you a while ago about the origins of your name, I'm still learning, so I didn't realize, was that naming is that offensive to transgender people? Is that something we should avoid? Just so
yes.
I can personally learn also.
Oo. Usually naman kasi the past is the past, di ba?
Okay.
And for us trans people, we just want to live the present and to be treated for whom we are and using our preferred pronouns and our chosen names.
Okay.
So that is called dead naming actually. But you know what? Ako naman, I'm not that sensitive and this would also be the perfect chance to tell everyone that, when somebody introduces himself or herself as Jake Cyrus or Geraldine Roman, just use Jake Cyrus and Geraldine Roman. You don't have to be too inquisitive.
Into it.
Yes.
Do you feel that some people are just curious, or do you think it should be an unspoken rule that take it as it is? Don't try to pry, because as Filipinos, we're very chikadora. We we have to admit, right? It's our
True.
nature and our culture to pry. So is it something that we should have as an unspoken rule? When you meet a transgender person, be a little more sensitive.
The only rule that exists, that there is for me, is to be kind to one another.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to read the minds of people and to speculate on what their objectives are when they try to find out what your old name was. Is it just out of mere curiosity, or is it with malice? But if you follow the rule of kindness, I guess you would just settle for the preferred name of the person you're dealing with, especially if that person is a trans person.
Okay. And thank you to you, because now I have learned, Congresswoman. So I hope you can forgive me for that little mistake.
No problem, baby.
So I want to ask you guys, as members of the LGBTQIA, do you think it has been harder for you in your respective industries? Let's start with you, DeeDee.
LGBT people, I think we grew up trying to prove ourselves, or maybe not all have, but for me and my friends, or generally to most of mga kakilala ko, we always have something to prove. Siguro kasi the society, or I'm not sure if it's just in the Philippines, but siguro is we are given the stigma, or we are given discrimination siguro. So we grew up trying to man up even though we're not really men, even if we're women or we identify as different. So yeah, not just in the industry, but it is harder. For me, it is harder for me.
You mean in general, it's harder?
It is talaga. Super. At work, school, lahat ng lahat ng field na nadaanan ko siguro.
So zooming into the entertainment industry, I wanted to ask you, I saw an article that you came out publicly on The Buzz in 2005. That was when you were 17, right? So do you think it's easier to be gay online or on TV?
Well, actually, nung araw, ang lumang tao. Pero actually, back then, it was, yun nga parang coming from DeeDee. Ako kasi, parang I had it easy. Parang, I'm one of the lucky ones na parang I didn't experience much discrimination. Parang, medyo when I came out on public in the Buzz like a decade ago, parang automatic, wow, nakaka-proud ka, Ice. Yung I was na-celebrate ako eh. So, I think ang responsibility ng mga Becky na, alam mo yun, medyo privileged na hindi na-discriminate, it's really to champion the cause. Kasi parang, sige, it's on my level, wala akong masyadong naramdaman. Pero, I have to get out of my bubble and really converse with people na parang, kaya ako medyo actually, kaya ako happy sa mga dialogues na ganito. Of course, ginagawa ng BaiCon and of course, every Pride Month is really to us to get a better understanding of ano talaga nangyayari within the LGBT space. Kasi parang, ako, comfortable ako, pero ang daming, not all of my brothers and sisters are as lucky. So ngayon, to answer your question, yung difficult online or being a budding in TV, I think it's better now online kasi back then growing up, parang ako I always admired yung heterosexual na love story. As in like, fan ako niyan, Julia Roberts, ganyan. Sige, natin, Ding Dong Dantes, yung mga local narratives. Pero it's so interesting ngayon that all of these BLs are coming out. Parang shucks, had I had that, when I was 17, ang sarap. Parang, kung may nakita ako isang Geraldine Roman in Congress dati nung kabataan ko, parang it would have been easier for me. So to answer your question, it's easier now kasi everything is, parang we have a long way to go, pero we're on our way because of all the efforts that the LGBT champions are doing online. Kasi TV kasi it's very filtered. So I guess it's I'm sure you could agree, Dave, na parang mas maging masaya maging bakla ngayon.
Definitely. I feel that when I came out, I was more free. I didn't have to dress a certain way. I didn't have to prove myself to anybody. Which brings me to this question. There's a cliche that we get asked all the time. It's asked in every pageant. Would we prefer tolerance or acceptance? Now, forget that question. I want to ask, respect or rights? If we had to choose one to live in this country where we are respected or where we have rights, which would you prefer? We can start with you, Congresswoman.
We have to start with respect first, with kindness, I would say. And respect begets respect. And if we as members of the LGBT community respect other people, I guess they would also respect us. And that is just not, that's more than wishful thinking. In my own experience, when we show respect to other people, they always reciprocate. So in the meantime, I am a legislator. Of course, I have to push for these rights to be reflected in our laws, which is the greatest challenge that we have nowadays. So that is how it works, really. Let us begin with self-respect, respect for ourselves, and then respect for others. And people will return that kind of respect.
It's discouraging to me to find out that some members of our own community do not support the bill. So I'm sure, is it discouraging to you? And why do you think that is, that some people in our own community don't support it?
Well, you know what? It is very frustrating for me, for some members of our community not to support the SOGI equality bill. But I have discovered that the reason why they do not support the bill is because they have not read the bill at all. And they just listen to rumorology, they just listen to the lies and the cliches that are being thrown again at the bill by the opponents of this bill. In particular, the fundamentalist Christians. And well, at least that gives him some sort of consolation to say, at least that discovering that their lack of support is based on ignorance. So there is a solution to that. And that is for them to be enlightened on what the objectives of the bill are and what the bill contains.
Yes, it's true. Well, one of these things that they're throwing around is that we're asking too much. What can you say to people who think that? We can go with you, DeeDee.
I think you can never say that phrase if you're not in those person's shoes. Alam mo yon, parang same with tattoos. Ilagay natin na, oh my God, ang dami na yan. But I would say that, no, what's not enough for me isn't, diba? Parang it applies differently to everybody. Asking too much when it comes to LGBT rights or privilege, I think so far, wala pa naman akong nakikitang something wrong dyan. But yeah, I respect those people because I think hindi talaga nila maiintindihan. They would never understand where we are coming from. I would say it's different. We see the world differently talaga. They can never have that gift. Tawagan natin gift, no, na makita or to see the world in a gay person's eyes or an LGBT perspective.
I see. I wanted to ask you also, because we know that one of the bottlenecks of this bill is because we are a religious conservative country. And I know that your family comes from a religious background. In a 2014 article, you said your relationship with your father has improved. But he's also a pastor in New York. Do you think we will ever find the right balance between religious freedom and equality for LGBTQIA?
No. Not anytime soon. I mean, not in my lifetime siguro. Pero I think just to get something from what Ma'am Geraldine said, it's yung respect begets respect. I mean, my relationship with my father isn't always perfect dati. Pero ngayon, when I came out on national TV, siya yung pinaka-nagtaas ng kilay because he's a pastor in the US and parang tinatry niya, naginego pa sa akin, baka naman, nagka-girlfriend ka dati, push mo, I see, wow. So ngayon that nakita niya that I got a career out of it, parang he tries to understand it in his own little way. And ako naman, as a Becky, I still attend church, I still believe in the scriptures, and I think hindi naman natin kailangan ng church wedding eh. I'm not asking for a church wedding. I'm just asking for basic human rights. And yun nga, parang I want to be able to, pag namatay ako, gusto ko yung partner ko, merong say. Yung ganong, those things naman are not dependent on a church. Diba? So I think yun talaga yung nilalabi natin for so long. And ako religion and LGBTQIA equality, parang it doesn't really, parang, alam mo yun, they could coexist, pero hindi mo sila pwede talaga ipag-combine. Let's be realistic. As in like, no.
I think the key is to recognize that there is separation between church and state.
Yes.
Yun na nga, ang problema eh. Ang sa Kongreso nga, may just share. The problems begin when they start imposing their religious beliefs on us legislators. We have some legislators who are part of these fundamentalist groups, and they start quoting the Bible. Ako naman, pag nag-meeting kami, pinapaalalahanan ko sa, hello, thank you for sharing your religious beliefs, but this is not a Bible study. This is a committee hearing of a country where there is separation of church and state. I always keep on reminding my colleagues, we cannot base our laws on the Bible because not all of us are Christians to begin with. What about Muslims? At saka pangalawa, what do we have in common as Filipinos? We all belong to different religions or the lack of religion thereof. And syempre, the only thing we have is the Constitution. So dapat ito nakabase sa Constitution kung saan naka-enshrine ang equality as a basic tenet of our land.
Well, it's interesting that we're bringing this up because I've always had this thought about our country. You know how we constantly say we're conservative, but when we grew up, we saw noontime shows, and not that there's anything wrong with a woman in a scantily clad outfit if she chooses to wear it, but we'd see girls in bikinis dancing and selling soap, right? Are we as conservative as we say we are? Or are we conservative when it's convenient?
Selective. Selective siya minsan. Kasi I think we live in a society wherein, yun nga, okay yung mga nagbabarilan sa TV, okay yung mga babaeng skimpy yung outfit, kahit mga lalaki din, di ba? Pero like, conservative in a sense, pero tama ka eh, parang ano siya, may mga hindi tayo conservative on that level. Parang ang dami nating mga pino-forgo na mga bagay-bagay. Scholar.
I think it's just patriarchy, no?
Patriarchy.
Pagpabor sa lalaki. It's basically patriarchy. Kung anong pabor sa kalalakihan, yun ang pabor sila. But that's slowly changing.
Yes. Well, this country is still very family-centric and traditional in many ways. What can you tell parents who have queer kids who have not been equipped by society to handle it?
Maybe they, of course, hindi sila into the minds of the kids. Hindi sila aware kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng mga bata, but they really would want to talk to these kids talaga, because I think hindi naman sa most cases parang sabi ng mga gay kids or mga teens is baka magalit yung parents nila, but I think that hindi naman talaga galit yon. I think that reaction is from fear, is from concern, because these parents know ano yung stigma ng LGBT sa atin, sa country natin. So they are most of the time worried and scared, hindi galit. So just talk to their kids. Yan.
Okay. How about you, Congresswoman?
You know what? Let the love prevail. Kasi I think it's instinctual for parents to love their children for whom they are. Ngayon, totoo ang sabi ni DeeDee, it's not because of a lack of love. It's out of fear, no? When they try to discourage their children from expressing themselves or coming out. But I just want to tell these parents, the world is changing slowly but surely. When we establish or create a society where discrimination does not exist or is minimized, LGBT kids can grow up to be happy and productive citizens of the country, and there should be nothing to fear if we fight for equality. So, sasabihin ko sa mga magulang na yan, educate yourselves, be optimistic, and let the love prevail. Ganun lang.
Yes, love wins indeed. So, Icy, how about you? What can you tell parents who need to learn how to love their kids properly when their kids come out?
You know, as a mom, joke mompreneur. Pero ako siguro, I think kailangan nyo lang, don't fear what you don't understand. Parang, ang initial reaction if you see something that you don't understand, parang shocks, ano ba to? Parang hindi ko maintindihan. It applies to anything in life. So, parang ako, when I don't understand something, I ask questions, I listen, and yun nga fight ignorance with education. That's one. And then, syempre, if anak mo naman yan, kailangan mangibabaw talaga yung love. As in, I think, sinong ina naman, parang yung respect, parang yung love, parang mahirap hingin niya kung kani-kanino. Pero kung magulang mo, it's something that's innate in them. So, parang just listen to them, guide them, and love them. As in, yun lang, it's that simple.
So, guys, final question for everybody. Jump in whenever you feel like. Can we compromise when we fight for equality?
In the world of politics, it's really give and take ang aming relasyon mga congressmen, and we have to listen to everyone. I cannot be too hardline in my fight for LGBT rights. If I did that, I wouldn't advance even a single step. And I do believe in taking baby steps towards our ultimate goal of equality. And I have to live with the reality that there are congressmen and congresswomen who do not think the same way as I do. I listen to them, even to the staunchest critics and opponents of the bill, and I was willing to compromise certain parts, but there are certain non-negotiables even within the SOGI equality bill. So, ako naman, I would like to view it as a sacrifice on my part so that I can advance the cause of the LGBT community.
Yes. Ako, I sobrang agree ako sa'yo doon. Kasi, ako naman, coming from the influencer marketing space, sa may hindi nakakaalam, I own an influencer marketing agency. So we champion good use of influence. So ang inaano ko kasi dyan, especially with LGBT champions and yung mga vocal, I think there is more than one way to communicate your message. Parang hindi tayo kailangan lagi adject or palaban. Kasi like pag palaban tayo, so parang nakakatakot tayo, diba? So parang I think it's better to really play the game and negotiate, and mas maraming mararating kung mas malambing tayo. And ako, while I admire those people who are their passion, their heart is in the right place. Pero I think kailangan natin mas maging spokesperson more than activista lagi. I mean, lahat naman tayo activist, pero I think with this never-ending negotiations and never-ending education, para kailangan natin mas maging sweet, kumbaga. Hindi natin kailangan lagi tarayan ng mga tao online. Para kung may nagbash sa'yo, ay bakla-bakla, sige, ito po kasi yung ganito, ito po yung point ko. So I think mas ma-advance natin, mas mabilis yung cause natin if we hear and if we communicate better. So yeah.
How about you, DeeDee?
That is really sabihin natin that is a challenge for us. But I super agree with Congresswoman and IC. It's gonna be a long way to go. But I think we also have to start with ourselves because kasi parang we were very too hard on ourselves siguro. We should kasi meron din tayong mga parts sa community na super agitated, super defensive. But yeah, I think if we have to focus on ourselves, if we excel in the things that we love, I think that would be a stepping stone na parang we're moving forward. Kasi there are times na parang nadadala tayo sa comments ng iba, ng outside the community. If we just learn to love like every part of it, then everything's gonna fall into place.
May I just add, JV,
Of course.
importante na within the community itself,
True. Very
that we
true.
respect one another. Kanya-kanya tayong papel. Meron those who are called to be activists and those who are called to be politicians like myself.
Exactly.
And of course, with that comes the need for us to not to be judgmental. Ang hirap kasi when we try to discredit one another and we belong to the same community.
Mhm.
So when there is a lack of unity within our community, ang natutuwa dyan, yung mga kalaban ng community natin. But sabi ko nga, ito ang dynamics of politics. Sometimes you have to sacrifice some of your principles to achieve something that would benefit more people, the greater good, basically. We don't live in a perfect world. Yun lang.
Yes. No, personally, I would like to thank you for all the work that you're doing and just for being out and being public about it. I think it means so much to all of us to see somebody like you, somebody like us out there in Congress. For people who do have more questions or who might want to reach out to you about about anything, how can they reach you?
Well, please follow me on my official Facebook page, Geraldine Roman, or just send me a message, or you can email me at repgeraldineroman@gmail.com.
So how about you, IC? If there's anybody who would like to reach out to you for advice or maybe even to work with you, how would they reach you?
You could reach IC at incircle.com.ph. So Incircle is our company. So we're an influencer market. We're a data-driven influencer marketing agency that thrives at the intersection between brands and content creators. So if you need marketing assistance, and actually ako naman, personal Instagram ko naman is ic.mendoza. You could slide me a DM. Wag lang tayo masyadong basta sa mga DM. May mga basta sa DM. Pero like, ako I answer all the time. Nakikita ko yan lahat. So, if meron kayong questions about coming out, about siguro career advice, especially when it comes to marketing, just let me know. Nakikita ko yan lahat and I'll answer when I can. Thank you.
And for you, DeeDee, how would people reach you?
Still we're answering questions sa TikTok. So at the DeeDee Villegas. On all platforms yan yung username. So pag hindi naka-reply, siguro busy bakla or laseng. Either of those two, ganon. But
Same.
yeah, we're trying our best to cater to all the questions talaga. So, and if I may add, I just wanna thank you guys for being part of this very amazing panel. Like, it's an honor to be with IC and Congresswoman and Davey. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So thank you to all of you for being part of our panel today. Thank you for teaching me some things personally. I hope that we can stay in the spirit of learning. I hope that while we celebrate Pride, we can let our pride down so we can continue to learn and support each other. BaiCon InFest has a lot more fun in store for you guys, so make sure you tune in to the BaiCon InFest Facebook page, TikTok Live, and Kumu. This has been your host, DeeDee 13C.